moaning and groaning on the couch. So I'm like, finally, I'm like, okay, you want to go to the ER. So I just want to come and talk to y'all a little bit. And so let me just tell y'all this. I've been up since 7:30 a.m. yesterday. Today is the 24th, I believe, 24th, 25th, I don't know. But I've been up since yesterday. I got up at 6 o'clock in the morning yesterday. And I went to work at 8, got off at 5. Everything was normal until after I got off work until like 8, 9 o'clock. About 8, 9 o'clock. And let me tell y'all something. Being a parent, you are never done raising kids. You're never done parenting as they become adults. Like they always gonna need you. And I say that to say, the reason why I've been up since 6 o'clock in the morning yesterday, and it's now 9 a.m., is because I was at the hospital all freaking night. No sleep.
Can y'all go ahead and subscribe, please, for me? Thank you.
Let me tell y'all. So, about 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, shoot. See, I'm tired, y'all. 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, my son, he got sick. And he was in the bathroom, and I was on the phone talking to my mama, and he was in the bathroom, and he was hollering for me. Now, mind y'all, my son is 19. He hollered for me and telling me he throwed up. And so I was like, okay, go lay down. What? Like, what? Clean it up. He go lay down. You all right? So, he was sick, and I'm like, okay. He just abruptly just got sick out the blue. Like, he was here. He was, I was in the kitchen cooking, and he wanted me to cook him a chicken sandwich. I made me a chicken sandwich. Nah, I ain't make it nothing. I was like, Craig, mama, baby, this for me. So he was mad I didn't make him no chicken sandwich. So, he had pulled the chicken breast out, and he thought I was gonna make something. I'm not making nothing. Go ahead, fry it. I'll show you how to make it. And so he went into his room. He put the chicken breast back up in the freezer. He went into his room. He went in the bathroom. Told me he was throwing up. So I didn't think none of it. I went, and start eating because I had just got done frying my chicken sandwich. And I was asking him, was he okay? And he was still sick, throwing up. And so he sent me a text message. And y'all, my son thought it was dying, y'all. He thought it was dying. So he sent me a text message and told me, he thought he was really sick or whatever. So I come back downstairs, because mind y'all, we stay in the same house. So I come back downstairs, y'all, and I tell him to come out his room, because he throwing up. So I tell him to come out his room and lay down on the couch. So he lay down on the couch, and I put a cold towel. I put a cold paper towel on his neck, and I knew that should help, with this nausea. So put that on his neck, and he was like, I said, does that help? And he started saying that, um, his chest was hurting and he couldn't breathe. And I'm like, what? Like, it just abruptly happened out of the blue. Like, how you can't breathe? I knew it wasn't COVID. Well, I figured it wasn't COVID because I'm like, he was just up and fine. Like, and just out the blue, he started throwing up, and he was, he couldn't breathe. So, and he said it hurt when he was breathing. When it hurt as it was coming in and out. He said it was the worst pain ever. So I'm like, where's it hurting? And he pointed to the middle, like, of his stomach and his chest area. And I'm like, well, that's not. I knew it wasn't his appendix. So I'm like, what's going on? So as he was throwing up, I was looking at his vomit to see, what color it was. And I was like, well, I could see food in it. It wasn't nothing that was odd. That would make me think, okay, well, let's go ahead and go to the ER. And so I thought. So then, like I said, he lay down. I put paper towel on his neck, and then I went and got another towel. Cold. Both of these were cold too. I went and got another towel, and I took that and I put that and told him put it on his stomach. I asked him, if he massaged it, would it help it better? And he was like, no. So he strawed all out on the couch, moaning and groaning on the couch. So I'm like, okay, you want to go to the ER? And he was like, no, they're gonna take too long. And I'm like, what the hell? You sitting here laying down, all sprawled all out on the couch. What do you mean they're gonna take too long? You're not doing anything right now. So so we get up, and y'all, the hospital ain't nothing but maybe the hospital is maybe 2 minutes away from my house, if that. So, it took us no time to get there. And as we go in there, the light, cause it's like 8, 9 o'clock, something like that, maybe even 10 at this point. So the light taking forever. At nighttime, the light takes forever to change colors. I guess because the traffic slows down, it takes forever. I don't know. But that light took forever. And he is in this car like that's what he doing, y'all. He in a car like he have dead. He like, I'm dying. And he clammy. He's sweating profusely. And he like, I can't breathe. I need medical attention immediately. So I'm like, okay. Ain't no cars coming. And the hospital is right on the corner. And we at the light. So I ain't gonna lie, y'all. I ain't gonna lie. Your girl ran that light. I sat there at that light for like 2 minutes, and there was no traffic coming. And so I'm like, I hurry on, started across the street. I think the light had turned green right at that across the street. But I was like, something wrong with my son. Like, my baby's sick, so let me get my baby to the hospital. And that's my baby. I don't give a damn. My baby is 70 years old. That's my baby. So I'm like, let me get my baby to the hospital. He's sick. So I'm like, right. We get him to the hospital, and when we get up in there, he's still sitting there. He's like, Mom, where they at? And I tossing his head back like that, like, where they at? I'm like, dude, they coming. It's a lot of people up there. He's like, Mom, I got shortness of breath. It's hurting. My chest is hurting. And so we get him back there. Like I said, he clammy, and he just lethargic. And so they do his blood pressure. And now, mind you, my son, he's a big boy. But he does not have high blood pressure at all. His blood pressure is actually on the low side, and every time we go to the doctor, I be just jealous like, damn, his blood pressure. His blood pressure runs low. Like when I say low, it's always under that 120 over 80. Like it's like 90 over 70. Like it runs low. And so when he got that, when they did his blood pressure, whatever, they was like, is he always, tired? Like, I'm like, no, he's not. And he wasn't really responding, he wasn't talking and stuff like that, but he was in so much pain. So when they did his blood pressure was like 170 over 110. Yeah. So I said, damn, his blood pressure is high, but I knew it was high though too because he was in so much pain. And so with all the symptoms that he had, they hurry on, took him back to a different room, and they did an EKG on him immediately. I'm looking at the EKG and I don't see I'm not seeing anything abnormal. And they didn't say anything like, oh, let's hurry on, get him back, like after they did the EKG, because it didn't take long at all. But they did get him back to a room after that. I was like, okay, well, it's not his heart, but even still, they were still kind of a little worried because it was just abruptly happened. He was throwing up, and he was clammy. His blood pressure was high. He was talking about that he had shortness of breath, so his chest was hurt. So that definitely sounds more like he was having a heart attack. And I was scared too, because I was like, it seemed like that was all the symptoms of a heart attack. But I knew that it abruptly happened, and he was throwing up stuff. But he told me he hadn't eaten anything. And I was like, what did you eat, Big Billa? That's what I call my son. You either hear me call him Big Billa, or I'll call him Dooley. I'm like, what did you eat, Big Billa? And he like, I didn't eat anything. All I had was some Fritos and a Slim Jim. I'm like, but I'm looking at his ramen, and it's like, what the hell? It's got chunks in it. It has color to it. I'm like, that's not no Fritos or no doggone Slim Jim. But I'm like, okay, I don't know what's going on here, because he keep telling me he didn't have anything to eat. And so they get him back into the room or whatever, and he like tossing, turning, like, Ma, tell him, help me, come on. He praying, and I'm like, okay, yeah, he's really scared. So then the doctor, we get him back there, whatever, and they put him on a blood pressure machine. They put the blood pressure cuff on him again, and put the his check his pulse oxide. What's it called? Oxide. Look, y'all, I ain't had no sleep in a minute, so yeah, I may say the wrong thing. But they was checking his blood oxygen level, and so when we get back to the back, his blood pressure is still high. It's like 150 over 115. And so basically it's not going up, because the bottom number, it went up, and the top number, it went down. So it's still high as hell. So they was on, like, I'm not gonna tell no lie, like the hospital that we had went to, they did their thing. And this is a hospital too, though, that's known for, like, heart, if you have like strokes and heart attacks and things of that sort, this is the place to go. Like, they definitely recognized for for taking care of people with heart conditions and stuff like that. So we were definitely in good hands. And so when they got him back there, and his blood pressure was still up, and he was cutting up, like tossing and turning, like, Ma, tell him come help me, and all this stuff. Tell him come back here. I'm like, boy, you gotta wait. But I knew, and even though it didn't take them long, like they were on it. Like, it's not like they sat us back there and now mind you, we was there for 8 hours, but they were constantly coming in and checking up on us. Doctors was coming in, and they did multiple tests on him, and they kept asking, did he eat anything? And the doctor was like, it sounds like, he asked what he ate. He said, it sounds like, you have a severe case of food poisoning. And so, um, he was like, I didn't eat nothing. He said, yeah. So he told him what he ate, and he was like, yeah, that definitely sounds like that's a lot of processed stuff. But yeah, it definitely sounds like that. Like you had food poisoning. First thing they did was they did a array of blood work on him. They checked for diabetes. They what else did they do? They did everything. Checked his liver, his kidneys, all that. And so they also tested for COVID. They tested for the flu. And as these results was coming in, they was constantly like, I didn't even have to call them to see where the doctor was at to even get the results. Like that's how quick they were on it every time, because he was throwing up there too as well. As soon as they would give him something, he'd throw it right back up. Give him water, he'd throw it right back up. Once they got him hooked up and got the IV in him and all that, they then gave him a gastro concoction, and it had lidocaine and something else. It was like Miralax. I don't know what it was. That's what it looked like to me. But as soon as they gave it to him, he like the exorcist. But he was able to get that lidocaine down. And once that lidocaine went down, the pain that he had in his abdomen and chest area, even though he wasn't able to keep it down, it numbed it up for that time being. So as soon as that went down, he started feeling relief. And I was like, does it feel better? And he was like, yeah. I said, you still got the shortness of breath? He said, no. I said, that was another thing. I was like, if he doesn't have shortness of breath anymore, and then they gave him a lidocaine, it can't be something wrong with his lungs. It can't, like it, and it's not him having a heart attack or nothing like that, because that lidocaine wouldn't have did nothing for that. Like that was something that was going on in his stomach. And so I know the doctors, I know they know, but I'm keeping it in the back of my mind, like this can't be anything going on with his chest. And when originally I thought that he had broke a rib or something, and that's why he was in so much pain. Cause I'm like, what the hell you throwing up? So they gave him that, and that helped for a little bit. And so he was still like cutting up, throwing up and stuff. And so they gave him some Zofran. The Zofran did not work for him. He was still nauseated, he was still throwing up. And then they gave him some Zofran, and they gave him some morphine. Gave him morphine. Morphine did nothing. And I knew the morphine didn't do anything because I'm looking at his blood pressure, and I knew that he was in so much pain. And so I knew that once he got a pain relief, that blood pressure would come down because he wasn't in as much pain anymore. So they gave him morphine. Morphine was like banaka to him. Like, it did nothing to him. Like, that was like it did nothing for him. So they then gave him after that, they gave him some more Zofran. They also took him back to get an ultrasound as well. So yeah, they were very, very thorough. They took him back, gave him an ultrasound, and then they didn't find anything. Well, they found something on the ultrasound, and so it wasn't nothing it was nothing too serious, but they had, because it was abnormal, they definitely had to, check it out or whatever. So they then went and after that, he was still in a lot of pain. And I asked him how the ultrasound went. He was like, it was terrible. He was crying all the time because he was in so much pain. And the ultrasound, they pushed him on the side. I'm like, I'm thinking it could be gastroenteritis or something like that. Like, I know it couldn't be his appendix. I thought it was he had stomach bug. Like, that's why I believe that he had like stomach virus or something like that. Excuse me, y'all. Not no time. So I thought he had a stomach bug, and so when So they told me not in the medical field, and I, you know, been working in the medical field for some time, and so I'm looking at the blood pressure. I'm like, damn. Like his blood pressure was at 150 over 110, and when they gave me a lot of that blood pressure plummeted to like 77 over 37, and I'm not even exaggerating, y'all. It went down as low as like 60. The lowest it went was 60 over 34. And I'm like, what the hell? Like, he got low blood pressure. This is ridiculous. So like, this plummeted quick. I was kind of scared. So, but he on the monitor though, and he was right next to the he was feeling, you know, feeling out of it. And then they took him in for a CT, and the CT came, everything came back good. All his labs came back good, everything. But now we got this issue where his blood pressure didn't drop so low. So now the nurse was like, oh hell, because she did it again. She ran his blood pressure again. She like, let me check to see. And she did it again. I'm like, damn, it's slow. And it didn't drop anymore, but it was staying like at that 70 over like 40. I'm like, what in the fuck? What in the freak? Like 70 over 47, like that's too freaking low. Like, what the hell's going on? But I knew it was because it dropped his blood pressure immediately. Plus, he had already had that morphine on top of that. And so the nurse, she cutting the lights off. Like, she asked me, do he want the lights off? I say, hell no, we don't want no lights off. Turn them lights back on, because this brother he's zooted at this point, and his blood pressure is gonna keep, the light is gonna keep dropping his blood pressure, and he's laying here on top of that, so it's really gonna definitely bring his blood pressure down. So I turn the light on and tell him, hey, I need you to sit up for me. I need you to wake up. So I need you to get to moving around, because your blood pressure is dropping at this point. Like, we need to figure out what's going on. So we were there for like, I think like at 4 o'clock. Nah, it wasn't 4 o'clock. It had to be like 2 o'clock or something like that, where they came back with the CT results and all that. But from 2 o'clock to like 5 o'clock, we were just sitting there waiting. And the doctor, because it was he seen a couple ER doctors. The initial one, he wasn't in there after his blood pressure had dropped. It was a different doctor. And I think he was like he wasn't a resident. He was an actual ER doctor. And he came in, and, you know, he was concerned. He asked, you know, was his blood pressure low? I said, his blood pressure typically runs low anyhow, but this is extremely low. And the doctor was like, yeah, I think it's at Delata too, but we don't want him to leave, you know, and get up and not be in there. Once he stands up, you know, he passes out because his blood pressure is so low. So we're gonna monitor him. And then what they did, they gave him a bag of saline, another bag of saline, and that helped to get that blood pressure up. But it took a minute. And even he didn't feel any type of way, because like I said, his blood pressure tends to run low anyways. So he was okay. And once he got that Dilaudid, and it started to wear off too, because he was more alert. And then that's when he told me, dun. I asked him again, I said, Big Billa, what did you eat? Dilly, what did you eat? And he was like, cause he was like, I ate some shrimp. And I was like, yeah, I know he had ate some shrimp because I had looked at his vomit early and I knew it wasn't no doggone chips in there. He said, I ate some shrimp. I said, okay, well, what shrimp did you eat? He said, I ate some shrimp upstairs in the freezer. I said, was it in the deep freezer downstairs? He said, no, it was upstairs in the freezer on the door. And I was like, oh. Now the first thing that comes to my mind is that it's in the freezer on the door. So that could mean that, you know, with that opening and closing, could have meant that that shrimp was constantly getting defrosted or something. I don't know what was going on with it, but that was my thought, that the shrimp had defrosted earlier or something, and then it got back refrozen, but it was out. It had defrosted for too long. I don't know. That's what I was thinking. But he hadn't told me prior to that he had ate shrimp, and so I asked. I said, "No, I know my son, and my son is very lazy when it comes to food sometimes. So he just want a quick meal. He just want to eat it real quick. This boy done throw the doggone stuff in the microwave." And these were breaded butterfly shrimp, the jumbo butterfly shrimp. I guess he assumed that because they were breaded, that they were cooked. The boy threw them things in that microwave, and he was like, I said, I bet you cooked them things on that in that microwave for 3 minutes too. Cause I know him. Cause he put stuff in the microwave and then it still be cold all in the middle, and he eating outside cause he just want to eat it. He put on 5 minutes. He gon' only cook it for 3, even though he know it need 5 minutes. So I'm like, I bet you cooked it for 3 minutes, didn't you? He said, I like for my shrimp to be soft. I said, oh, this boy up here eating doggone raw shrimp, and he probably cooked it he didn't cook it enough. So whatever was up in there, it did not sit right with his stomach and made him violently ill, which is what the doctor was saying from the beginning, that he knew that he had some severe food poisoning. He told him, you know, in a day or two he'd be okay. He'd sleep it off and he wouldn't even know what was going on, which that's exactly what happened, because when we left there, he was okay after hours, but he was definitely violently ill. But I'm like, had I known that, we wouldn't have been there for as long as we were, even though he would have still been sick, but they wouldn't have had to do all those other tests. They wouldn't have to do the ultrasound. Oh, and they also did an x-ray too on his chest, because he seen his chest was hurt and he was having shortness of breath. And then as he was talking to the nurse saying he had shortness of breath, he said, can you do something for it? And she was like, I can't do nothing for it. Your blood oxygen level is at 100. And I'm like, right. And I'm trying to figure out why it's not dropping. And nobody's saying anything about it dropping, because he's saying he has shortness of breath and they haven't given him oxygen. But I'm looking like it isn't dropping. But y'all, this boy, I guess he didn't know how to describe what his pain was. Instead of him saying shortness of breath, it was hurting. It was hurting in here. It was hurting up in here as he was breathing in and out. It wasn't he had shortness of breath. It hurted. It hurted for him to breathe, y'all. And I'm like, it's going to do that. You're throwing up. So I'm happy that my son is okay. But like I said, y'all, you never done parenting. And I'm gonna tell y'all something too though. What's funny is that I'm saying you never done parenting, but at the same time I was in the ER with my son, I was on the phone with my mama the whole time. The whole freaking time. Like, because on top of that, I just hurry on, rush up out the house. Phone was already going dead. And so I didn't have no phone. It was, like I said, it was going dead. So I called my mama, and my mama sat on the phone with me the whole time. Whole time I'm sitting next to him. I'm on the phone talking to my mama, and you know, she knew that I didn't have my phone was dead, and she, basically keeping me occupied and talking to me, and we talk, y'all, for hours. Sometimes we may go like 5 or 10 minutes, dead silent, but she didn't hang up the phone, which I definitely appreciate that. Thank you, Mama, for that. But she wanted to make sure that her grandbaby was good, but yeah, my mom was on the phone with me. I was right there on the bedside of my doggone baby, like, and we all adults, but you never done being a parent because your children are now adults, like they always need you. And I'm in this hospital, y'all, with this boy, and he called me. I said, son, when are you going to? What's gonna happen when you become an adult and you have to be at the hospital? You have to go to the hospital by yourself, cause he is an adult, y'all. And he was like, no, never. Oh yes, you are, cause Mama will not be up at this doggone hospital with you like this all the doggone time. Now, if it's serious, I'm for sure gonna be there. But baby, I can't do this. I can't, man. I can't. You got food poisoning, son. Like, and I got to make sure that he thoroughly tells me what's going on. Like, he got to give me bit by bit information, because I need to know if this young man is being melodramatic or if it's really serious. Like, he is a man, and so men are definitely their pain tolerance is here, and so the slightest thing will have them in a tizzy. And I'm like, son, we could have been out of here 3 hours ago, 4 hours ago. Like, so yeah, you're never done. Never are you done being a parent. Just because your kids are out of the house and they have families of their own, they're gonna always call on their parents. Like, and I promise you, they think that their parents are still, like, can rescue them from anything. They gonna always hit that, call my mama, call my daddy. Like, sometimes mama and daddy can't save you from some situations, like, but we gonna be there, and it's that comfort though. But yeah, y'all, just want to share that with y'all. Like, I'm tired, as y'all can see. It's over here just I'm half sleep. I'm gonna let y'all know that. Like, all right, y'all, I'm finna go ahead and lay it on down. Thank y'all for watching. Bye.